Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Mario and today we're talking about working out when it's cold out. Stick around. So I'm pretty tolerant of the cold. Right now I weigh in at about 156 to 160, give or take, depending if it's a Sunday or not, family dinner. But you know, I've been outside running when it's 13 degrees out. It's about 16 degrees out today. It's cold and it's been windy, and I went outside just to put some stakes in the ground for the plow trucks and stuff so they don't ruin my lawn like they do every year. So I really wanted a treadmill, but the treadmills I want are on sale. Well, even though they're on sale, they're between $700 and $900, and it's worth it to stay healthy. However, they're big, they take up a lot of room, even though they'll fold up. So I want to do something in the interim, because the treadmill, most likely I'll only be using it from, let's say, December to March time frame, when the weather or the snow or the rain don't cooperate, you know, as well during the year. So I picked up this exercise bike at BJ's. It was normally $130, on sale for $90, and I'm just going to try it out. If I like it, great, and I won't buy a $900 treadmill. Plus this will store away easy. And that is to hope to avoid to spend so much money on the treadmill that takes up so much room in what is already a cramped space. So I'm going to take this out of the box and give it a test spin. So here's the foldable exercise bike with monitor. Probably runs off batteries most likely. But as you can see, it's pretty simple. It has a seat, handles for the seat, and a back, which I'm glad it has a back too. I don't know how comfortable this is going to be to sit on. And the only other thing is that my watch isn't going to keep track of it as I would if I was running on a treadmill. However, I can put in that I did the exercises and then put in the mileage. Space savings, well, I kind of debate the space savings aspect of this. But for 90 bucks, can't go wrong, and BJ's has a good return policy, so we're going to open it up and see what it looks like. Back when I was 11 delivering newspapers, I learned something about this strapping. Some people would just cut it with scissors, but if you just flip this around and pull this tab, it pops right off. No scissors needed. So here we got the manual. A lot of safety. Gives you a parts list right here, and general overview of install, and a list of which way. It does come with a little wrench, but I'm going to use my own wrenches because these things are usually useless. So these are straps that keep your feet in. I don't know if I'll end up using these or not. This is so you can, instead of just pushing down with the pedal, you can also pull up with your feet. But I will put these on. I don't think there's a left and a right side. Yep, actually there is. One thing about exercise equipment, people are always eager to buy it and then never use it, and then sell it at a fraction of what it costs them. So that's another reason why $90 sounds a lot better than, you know, $700 to $900. These bolts right here have the plastic inserts, so they should not loosen over time. This would not be fun with a wrench. And if I had to guess, that is the pin for the seat. And this is the lock for the seat. It screws in from the back. There's also some holes in the seat right here, probably for the handlebars. Okay, next is the seat handlebar, and it comes with these two shorter ones, and as well these have curved washers. For those wondering, it's a 1/2 inch socket. Deep would be preferable for some of these. Some you can't use deep, but they're securely on there. And some of this is, I don't say damaged, but it's had weight on it, so it's got these dimples in the material. You know, it's not an expensive bike. So now I did install this out of order. They show you putting on the handlebars first, but this gave me a good way to keep everything steady with just 2 hands. Next we have the brains of the operation. This runs off 2 AA batteries as mentioned. Here is the, looks like a mono plug, like an 1/8 inch mono plug. Batteries go underneath here. And I'm gonna probably guess it would be easier to install the batteries first. So I'm going to do that. And the reason why I say that is because you have to get underneath to change them. And at my age, who wants to keep stooping down? This mentions a sensor input. Now I don't know if it actually has a sensor input there. This may simply be for a different model, maybe a higher model, because it did not come with anything else. So I'm going to guess that that is nothing for this particular model. And if we just take a look in there, to be honest, it's an empty hollow nothingness. So this is most likely again for multiple models. And in the front you only have 1 button, so it's not like it's anything fancy. Let me hold that right side up for you. And basically has scan, time, speed, distance, odometer I assume, pulse, and calories. And a lot of this is assumed, and since it's only 1 button, it's not like you could program your weight or any of that stuff in there. But let's get this on. So we got our cap screws here with the washer. And they did include this Allen wrench. Now we will plug in our cable to the computer. And here is the safety device. Let me show you what this is for. When using this, by popping this in here, it keeps this, I guess, a little more stable or from collapsing. However, it seems like it's more for storage, where you could just kind of pop that in, and I guess this is how it would stand. Now I have to tell you, this is not stable at all like that, so you best be putting this against something so it does not break something else from falling over. Again, not going to win any awards. So here on my phone I have a run, which is what I usually do. Treadmill is which I did in Paris. And I can do stationary bike. And go back. And then when I hit start workout, it'll give me 10 seconds to prep. On my Garmin, I press and release. And you'll see I have run towards the top. Walk, strength training, which is a Saturday thing for me, and here we have the bike indoor, and it's ready. It will not turn on the GPS, so when I'm ready I will just press that button. Now you may be wondering, Mario, why do you have pink weights on your exercise bike? Well, this is just to add some extra weight to my hands when I'm on the bike, and I can do a motion of running. They're only 2 pounds. I got some 5-pound ones there. These belong to my daughter, but I figure they'll work just fine for me, and they store quite nicely right here, so I can put them down if I need to do something else. So I can listen to my music. I got the weights in hand, a couple of pounds each, just for more motion. I got the TV in front of me. I can watch TV if I want, news, but listen to music for now. I got the pedals adjusted, so I'm not only pushing down, I'm lifting up. I have maximum tension of 8. It doesn't seem like much. However, after about an hour of this, I'm sure I'll feel differently. And we'll see how it goes. So, turn this music off. What have I learned? A few things. The adjustment knob, 1 to 8. 1 to 6, feel no different for me. When you get to 7, I feel a little resistance. Get to 8, a little more resistance. Maybe there's an adjustment that can be made. Correction on the scan. Let me show you that. So I misspoke earlier. As you can see, as long as the scan is lit up, not sure if you could see that, but it'll scroll through all the settings with one exception. If I take off the scan so it permanently stays on odometer or pulse, as long as I'm moving, as long as I'm moving and it detects a pulse, it's not going to change settings. So I have the scan off with it on the pulse, but as soon as I release from the pulse long enough that it's not detecting a pulse, it's going to go back to scan mode. Don't know if I like that or not, because I like to once in a while pick up the weights and do the arm motion to jog. So it's saying P for pulse. Speaking of pulse, when you do finally put it on pulse, it takes about a minute to stabilize to show you something accurate. And as far as accurate goes, it's debatable because my watch rarely agrees. With the bike, my pulse was around 120, 128. When I run, I've gone as high as, let's say, 165, 168, with an average of above like the 140s, 150s range. But the other thing I run into is, even though it's not warm in the basement, it's about 68 degrees, I sure do sweat a lot more. In fact, about 35 minutes into this, all of a sudden my throat closed up and dried, and I felt like I was going to choke. So my daughter went upstairs while I was on the bike and got me some water, because I was obviously parched, because it's warm down here. You got forced hot air, which is going to dry you out. Also interruptions. I don't get any interruptions on the street. Every once in a while my daughter wants to talk while I'm working out, and I like a little peace when I do. And you might have heard a clank. I thought that was a problem with the gearbox, but what it is the pedals. They have slack in them. So if we look at the pedals, if I'm pushing down all the time, you won't hear it. But if I'm pushing down and lifting up with my sneakers, you'll hear all sorts of clickety-clack noises. So that's just a sloppy pedal, cheap pedals. That's not a big deal. Now, was this a good workout? Sure. Was this as good as running? I don't know. That's out for debate. I think outside I have more body motion. My arms are constantly moving and my heart rate is higher. But this is better than nothing. And there are going to be days, as mentioned, where it's going to be snowing, raining, ice outside, slippery conditions, crazy drivers who don't pay attention. Again, I've almost been hit 6 times, I think the number is right now, because people not paying attention. So this is a safe alternative. And I have the choice to join the gym. I think it's Planet Fitness is like $10 a month for the basic gym stuff and $40 to join. For $20 you can use like the whole facilities. But you know, that takes an extra half an hour out of my day for commute, change up there, you know, depending on the weather, if it's cold, back and forth. That's an inconvenience. Plus, not to be cheap about it, it is a subscription. This is $90, so it pays for itself in less than a year. But if I start driving every day to the gym, I lose my insurance discount, and that's at least $200 a year. So I have to factor that in there. So that's another consideration. And there's a convenience. Again, the inconvenience is that I don't get out of the house, don't get that nice fresh air. Here's one other thing. Right now, my knees are fine. You see that hitting there? I have to make sure I'm sitting back and leaning forward so my knees don't hit. Now, I have this all the way up the seat. Normally, when you're bike riding, my understanding is you're not supposed to have to overextend your knee, just almost. So I assume the same could be said for the treadmill, the bike. So that's something that is a slight annoyance. My right knee is what would often hit this. My left knee has never hit it. And I don't know what the deal is with that. It could be that this is just tweaked one way or another, but that's about it. As far as storing this away,
You know, I showed you earlier that you can fold this up, put the pin in. It's not very stable. I would not leave this around a small child, because they pull on this, it's going to come crashing on it, and I can guarantee you they're going to get hurt or worse. So let's go through some of my other routine. Doing push-ups till I wear myself out. So I bought these Undersun bands. We got a extra heavy, medium light, and extra light bands. I think it was $90 for the set. Undersun was out of this little device here, so I bought it separately for $9. And basically, you put this in a door, whether it's the side or the top, and you can wrap the band through the hole, so you can kind of do side motions, and from the back do one of these motions. I've only used this once. I find that my basic circuit training with the bands work out fine. I only do this once a week, but I like to do curls every day, and my sets go like this. I do 4 sets total. I use my watch to track the activity. It'll calculate sets and reps, usually accurately. So I do a set of 20, and that's the first set. So for instance, for curls, it will be up 1 second and then return 3 seconds, and I'll do 20 reps, usually 21, just because that last rep I tend to get lazy on, so 21 helps me with that. And then I do 2 sets of 10 or 11, or again, 1 up and 3 down, and that goes for any of the exercises I do. And then the final set I do 15, and that is just a 1 up, 1 down exercise. And I got that, I'll post a link in the description or down below, the guy I picked up the training from. But I do 7 exercises, 4 sets each, so 28 sets and a bunch of reps. And the way this works basically is you step on the bands, and you reach down, so there's always tension in the instance of the curls, and you do it. So I'm going to grab one of the lighter bands, and I'm going to show you what I do. So got the heavy band, step on it. Now the more I step away, the more tension I'll have because it's shorter, or you can leave some slack, and when you grab from below, you want some tension when you stand up straight. You don't want it loose because you don't want zero tension. So you grab below, and I'm going to do my first set of 20. Then I'll repeat those same steps with the heavier band. I do the 20 with the heavy, and the extra heavy I do for the last 3 sets, and the watch will track those activities. Now I do use these gloves. I got them at Walmart, and probably not going to keep them, Gold's Gym. But the bands tend to put a lot of friction here on the side of your hands. And if you look, the only good feature of these gloves, they have like a little pull thing here. As you'll see this mark here, that's all scabbing from the friction from the gloves. I'm always that person who wants to try something cheap first. So the company Undersun sells gloves. They're full-fingered gloves, and they have extra padding here and here. The only thing is my watch doesn't respond well when you double tap this to start and end sets, or you have to manually change a number because it calculated it wrong. It's really hard to do. In fact, these winter gloves I bought these at Costco. They're called Head. These offer me better protection here, and it's got a finger that you can touch the screen to do things, but it's still not great. But I'll have those gloves soon, so hopefully that'll help get rid of the scabbing. There are lots of other exercises I do. Again, I said there were 7. So I have the curls. So I start out with the kind of a deadlift, squats with the bands, do a chest exercise where I have the bands, I stand on it and I bring the bands upright. Again, I'll put the link in the description, and then I pull them apart, followed by the curls and the tricep extensions, and the bands work really well. The only thing is you never get the same weight twice. You kind of adjusting with it. So weights would be a more accurate thing. However, this is what I have. This is what I work with. It's convenient at the home, and I don't have to join the gym, and there's really no excuse. It's here. I can't say, oh, it's raining, it's blah, 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 but go downstairs. A full workout takes about 50 minutes, 50. So again, after my run, or in this case bike, I do some push-ups. I will then do some pull-ups on the pull-up bar upstairs in a couple different ways, straight pull-up and then side. I lost a lot of upper body strength because I used to be able to do them no problem. But now, you know, I do what I can. So no excuses. This right here is an exercise bar that I purchased. I think I got this at BJ's as well. It's got a little clip that slides over the door frame that keeps this from popping off. And pressure is the rest. You can also use this on the floor. You sit it down. It's kind of an extension push-up for to get yourself farther off the ground for push-ups, so you can dip further down to kind of extend your arm further back. So I'm just gonna clip this back on. Now this black foam does rub off on the door handles a little bit. I've had this for a really long time, but I only started recently using it again. So I'm just gonna pound out a few sets of those. I'm not gonna bore you with that. And I'll do another set from here. So that's what I got for you today. I'm sick of making excuses for myself of why I'm not doing something, because all that time you spend making excuses, you could be doing something, right? This little bag from Undersun. I'll put a link in the description where I got this on Amazon. You could buy the individual bands or a set. This particular set was 90 bucks. You can wear it as a backpack, right? So, you know, I guess it makes for easy carrying or whatever. Recently I went on a business trip. I don't talk about that till after I get back, because I don't like people knowing when I'm not here. But work had to send me overseas. I was in Paris this time around. Last year I was in Paris and Dublin, Ireland. And I brought this with me. Well, this time around I did, because I didn't have this last year. Bought this with me. So after I went on the treadmill, or if I didn't have time for the treadmill, I could pull out these bands, do a quick few reps or something. Also push-ups. Whenever I get up from my desk at work, when I'm working, or if I have to get some water or whatever the case, try to drop and at least do 20 push-ups. Just something to keep my body moving. Keep that heart rate going. You know, there really is no excuse for me anymore. I don't want to go back to the way I was. I look at myself and I'm like, I don't like that person. I don't like what it became. I range these days anywhere from 156 to 160 pounds, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It depends if I'm fasting for 24 hours or not. And to be honest, that's not even my lightest weight. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I was about 132 pounds, and some would say that was too light. But now that I've gained so much weight and lost it, I do have that loose skin. I don't like the way it looks, but it's a reminder to me that I was a lot worse off back in January, which is now not even 11 months ago. Last week, I think, rang in 5 months I've been running. I typically do a 7K. I have thrown in some 8 and 10Ks in there. And even when it was 13 degrees out and running, you know, I still did it. And sometimes it was 20 degrees, but it was windy and it was nasty. Even I put my gloves on and I'll hold my fists and not use the fingers to keep it warm. And about 1.5 miles, 2 miles into it, I start to sweat. I take off the gloves, put them in the pockets, and I keep going. You know, when I get about up the street, like a block and a half, 2 blocks, I say to myself, maybe I'll go this way and I'll just do a 3K today. But I take that right and I go down the street. When I get to the end of the street, I go, oh, if I take a left, I could still do that 3K. But I take that right again. And then when I reach to a certain point, like if I stop now, that'll be 5K. And I push myself and I push myself to 7K. Sometimes I say, you know what, today's the day. And that was back in maybe September, I want to say, that I did my first 10K. And I'm not a fast runner. I'm a short guy. But typically, you know, I was doing 10-minute, 20, 30-second mile, that first mile. And then the other day, All of a sudden, boom, I dropped to 940 or 939. So something happened in there. I don't know what it was, that air, that fresh air, because I was also running without the long sleeve and the pullover. Even though it was really cold out, I'm used to that cold. That's what I like. I hate the heat. And downstairs it was warm, 68 degrees, and I was sweating more than usual. So there you go, folks. It doesn't take a lot. Maybe you can't run because you got bad knees. I got bad knees. In my right knee, I got 2 tears in the meniscus. On the left leg, I got a tear. So you got good days and you got bad days. That's why I got the knee sleeves from Gym Reapers. Had to look down for a second. And I bought my friend Feed Me Fit, pointer out, lifetime friend from way back when I was in elementary school. So again, don't make excuses. I'm not a spokesperson. I'm not selling you anything. If you see this stuff and you click the links and you buy it, I might get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon, depending. You know, just full disclosure, because Amazon now wants people to disclose that kind of thing. But I do appreciate all the support I've been given. So maybe you don't have the money for exercise equipment. Maybe you can't go to a gym. You can do push-ups. And maybe you have bad muscles or something. We'll do the push-ups where your knees stay on the floor. You do it, or do push-ups against the wall and tilt back. Something. Build that strength. Because I could have never imagined running 10K, let alone 7K or 3K. I was going a block before I was running out of air. In fact, one night it was really cold out, and I'll run to my car from the store, and usually I'm out of breath. But I did it a few weeks ago, and I was like, this is cake. And you know, my metabolism is sped up, and I'm watching what I eat, and I'm eating better. I'm no longer drinking soda. All those things combined. You know, I know this was longer than usual, maybe a boring video, but some people have asked what I've been doing. And I just want to share with you my experience and how it's worked out for me. Remember, folks, if I can do it, you can do it. No more excuses. The new year is upon us. You can make it a New Year's resolution, you know, in a month, to say, today I start. Or you do it today. You do it right now. You put down that chocolate cake. You put down that cheeseburger with bread and pizza. Or you cut down to 3 meals a day and you stop that in between snacking. Get rid of the chips. Something. Do something different. Drop out some of that stuff. It's going to be hard. I know how hard it was the first 2 weeks, but I dropped about 15 pounds in 2 weeks. The first time I lost weight back 32 years ago, I dropped like 10 pounds in 1 week. So don't get discouraged. Some days or weeks you're going to lose 1, 2, 10, 15 pounds. Other times you're not going to lose any weight and you get discouraged. But if you keep up the good work and you're not losing weight, guess what? You're losing inches. And I wish I kept track of the inches that I was losing, but I have that biometric scale which keeps track of my fat, and so I know my body fat has been dropping. And I bought a little device, this right here, you know, to measure the body fat. Plus it comes with a little tape measure that you can wrap around, clip around your wrist, so you can measure your, you know, biceps and stuff like that. I'm not huge by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not big at all, but I hear the comments and I can see the difference, and I'm fitting well in those medium shirts and no longer wearing those XXLs. So I'm dragging on a little bit, and I'm going to say it one more time. If I can do it, you can do it. Start today. Thank you. See you soon.